Hi, I'm Jacob, and this is the Prepper's Bunker Outdoors. Come here, Jimbo. This is my buddy Jimbo. Good boy. Sit. I want to talk to you today about a little bit of what I've seen of the history of dark timber custom knives and of the dark timber Brotherhood. So, it all started, I guess, better than 2 years ago now. I saw this video from Chris Tanner, Prepared Mind 101, with an incredible knife. Like something that I had never seen before, with forged bevels and polished, forged slabs and polished bevels. It was just incredible. And I looked at the video, and I looked at a couple pictures, and I scrolled right on by. That was not even remotely realistic for me at the time. I didn't even want to know what it was or what the price was. It was just too good for me. And not long after, American Sniper came out, and that fat liberal, whatever his name is, talked crap about Chris Kyle, and Peter got a little bit worked up. And long story short, being a veteran, I won the opportunity to get this knife from him. Show you a close-up here in a second. Alright, so things moved fast from there, guys. Under the table, under wraps, Peter was talking to me about a special project that he was doing, which was some axes. I was so excited to see what he came up with axes. It was just crazy. But he was making this knife for me, and I was waiting on it, and I didn't quite know what it was going to be. And Peter was talking about what knife I would carry into combat as a utility blade, and I was talking to him all the time. And at the same time, I was working a little bit with him on possibly some Baldric sling options for larger knives, and it was a really exciting time. So fast forward just a little bit, and I had my first blade show right next to Peter Kohler when Peter had his first blade show. And we talked about blade show a little bit. He talked to me about how much of himself, his life, his future was invested in this blade show. And I'd been talking to a lot of friends about blade show. I was new to the knife community at this time, but I was more involved in the knife community at that time than I am now, sadly, with the way things have gone. But I told him, I said, man, you know, you're going to have to go to Blade Show, but don't expect to sell everything. You got to expect to make contacts and meet people. Not a lot of people go there and just sell out. I said, you know, you really got to be careful with this. And he explained to me that Blade Show for him was all or nothing. It was like his livelihood was invested in Blade Show. And I was a little bit worried, but I mean, look at Peter's work. How worried could I be? It's incredible. We got there. Boom. He sold out. It was crazy. So things started moving really fast for dark timber. And I think about that time is when the Dark Timber Brotherhood came up. And basically, it was a small group of dudes that had kind of been around and gotten to know each other. And I was kind of a part of that, not because I deserved to be, but because I liked talking to everybody there, and I had gotten this knife, and you know, I really, Peter's a guy that I have a lot of respect for, so I wanted to get to know everybody, and it was starting so slow, but like I said, the momentum was building so fast, and things were rolling with Peter. He started working with S30V forging. He started doing the steel formerly referred to as San Mai. Do I need to say that? I don't know. And his work was really evolving. So you had this style that Peter started out with, like this knife here, and it really started to change a bit and become more refined, which was very interesting. And Peter is the kind of guy who wants to learn. So then he's going on trips to meet with Claudio Sobral and stuff like that. And he's also fighting a bit of the knife community drama. And to me, the Dark Timber Brotherhood is special because it's a pretty tight-knit community where you guys can kind of get away from a little bit of that drama, I hope. And Peter really brought that together. But, you know, me and Peter talked a lot as he was going through all this, and I was afraid that I might start going through this at the time with some projects that I had going, and that I will be having again here in the future, hopefully within the next couple months. I'm picking up steam. But and then the really big one, I had known that Peter was working on Midtechs for quite some time, and they got released. And as of today, the Midtech line might be the epitome of dark timber knives. And before you hang me out to dry here, this is why. They don't compare, obviously, in just aesthetic beauty to Peter's Customs. But Peter, with his Midtech line, every knife that goes out has to be exactly what he wants to sell, not necessarily what the person he's making a knife for wants, because no matter how much of Peter's soul he puts into every knife that he makes for somebody, if they have requests, he's still making that knife kind of for them. And you see some just beautiful, awesome custom creations coming out of Peter's shop that are very Peterish, but they still have that person's desires in them. Whereas the Midtech line, I think, is exactly what Peter wants to sell and exactly what Peter thinks that the knives that he's making should be, and that makes them an incredible representation of who he is. So why I wanted to do this video is I've been showing you guys some incredible custom knives that he's made, but he came out with this Midtech line. The Dark Timber Brotherhood Dark Timber Knives is growing so incredibly fast. There's a lot of new names in the Brotherhood that are posting all the time who weren't around. I mean, it's growing so fast, weren't around when I first started being there. And so it's been so long since I've been active with you guys that, in fact, a lot of these guys who you are part of the family now don't even know who I am, which is, I'm just learning right now especially. But so I want to get on to Peter's surprise, but the reason I wanted to do this video was I'm hoping that you guys realize the monumental level of what Peter has accomplished here with the help of God first and of the people who are put in Peter's path to help him, and through Peter himself, because Peter is working like an absolute madman to make this happen. But what's going on here is Peter is branching out and doing his own thing and being successful at it and creating this community and creating this incredible following where he can sell in a market where that's disappearing. When I was growing up, you would go to knife shows and every knife maker could have this following, and lots of knife makers still do. This is not taken away from any other knife maker. I know a ton of people are now going to be offended by this video. But that's kind of going away to a certain extent now, where a few names are dominating the market and people make their name through these other names. And so while the market seems to be kind of coming together, Peter's doing the opposite. Peter's doing his own thing, and it's working. And it's just really, really awesome. So my surprise for Peter, we've been talking for a long time about this, is thank the Lord, I finally got that's right, this big old bad boy, the Dark Timber Kodiak. And there's a little bit of a funny story between me and Peter and the name of this knife that I won't bore you with. But this knife is not like what I expected it to be. It's very different from anything else that is similar to it. I have to take a moment here to thank the guy who sent it to me. I can't mention your name, you know who you are. I can't thank you enough, man. Seriously, it's an incredible opportunity for me. But the Peter Kohler Dark Timber Kodiak Midtech. Peter, his Midtech experience started kind of with Bark River and the Grizzly, and I think that the Kodiak eats the Grizzly. This knife is awesome. I put this knife into my dad's hand, and the first thing that he thought was that it wasn't as heavy as he expected, like I expected. It was balanced differently than we expected, and due to the fact that it's actually very lightweight, but you still have this nice length and a nice Kydex sheath, which is also lightweight, both of our first thoughts were this would make an incredible military blade, because it is reminiscent just in its raw nature of a K-bar. But while being lightweight, if you can find a way to get this girl on your kit, it gives you a lot of potential. And this is not just a utility blade, because you put this thing in your hands and it's quick. I mean, it is just quick. And so when I deployed to Afghanistan, I won't say what knife it was, but I had a large knife. It was a little bit shorter than this one. It was way heavier, and it did not perform anywhere close to this one. It was a hunk of crap, and it was made out of an inferior steel with an absolutely inferior heat treat by an inferior company with an inferior edge geometry for about the same price, with a vastly inferior sheath. And I carried it around. That's how I got to learn, I guess, a lot about big knives and what I was looking for, or more particularly what I was not looking for. But anyways, I want you guys, if you are not watching this from the Dark Timber Brotherhood already, please check out the Dark Timber Brotherhood on Facebook. Follow along with Peter's work. He just came back from Blade Show. He's already released another new knife there. And what I want you guys to keep your eye on, why I'm talking about this history, is a lot of the people who are following Peter are really new. And I think that they don't realize how much he's gone through to get where he's at. But with how quickly Peter is doing things, this little Dark Timber history from where I started off, which is not at the beginning, with how fast it's been moving, it's going to continue moving really fast. Because when I met Peter, he was coming from a position where he was making knives for, like, I think Ducks Unlimited and a couple of other things. And I don't think I've seen another knife maker in a period of a few years go from that guy that not many people have heard of to Peter freaking Kohler. So kudos, Peter. You know that I'm going to put this knife to the test in the way that I do. I've been waiting for it for quite some time. Got a lot of other knives I'm not going to talk about in this video to go head-to-head with it. I know it will do well. I appreciate the Brotherhood. I appreciate you, Peter Kohler, Hezekiah. You guys are a great group, and I look forward to being more active with you. And I'm not going to post any pictures or spoilers of this until I know Peter's seen the video, because I'm excited. Me and him talked about getting this knife, and you know, Peter's making all of this progress, but he's still a small shop. And a lot of this progress isn't because Peter has a lot of money and he just hired a bunch of employees. A lot of this progress is because Peter's putting down the man hours and the bloody knuckles to make the contacts and do a lot of the work himself. So just getting me a knife is something that I know that he wanted to do and talked about wanting to do, but I didn't want to bring up because I don't want to take advantage of him. Now, this is not a review video for this knife. I will be doing an initial impressions review video for this knife very quickly. So real quick, thanks again, guys. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe. I can't wait to use, not abuse, use the heck out of this knife. And to the guy who sent it to me, again, man, you've just been a huge blessing in my life, a huge support to this channel, and I'm about to hit it hard. And hopefully I will put out the content that makes your contributions worth it. Thank you, everybody. I look forward to talking to you in the comments section and on Facebook, and I hope that you have a blessed day.